When I was working out my talk, what I wanted to do was walk onto this stage and accidentally break this little piece of glass here. But when I spoke to the organizers and I found out that the stage was going to be like this, there was going to be the red carpet, and the glass was going to be on a little base like that, I just felt the conditions are not right. This glass might not break, and that might be a bit embarrassing. Now, you might wonder why. Why did I want to accidentally break this piece of glass? Well, the reason is I wanted to reenact an accident that happened to me about 20 years ago. An accident that was very important to me, to my life, and to my career. So instead, I've got my hammer. So we are going to smash this piece of glass instead. So what happened? 20 years ago, I was at college. I was doing my master's. I was at the Royal College of Art in London, and I went in to do ceramics. Now, coincidentally, it was ceramics and glass. Two materials, similar processes, one course, which meant I got the chance to experiment playing with glass. One day, I was building my large three-dimensional sculptural clay forms, and there was a little bit piece of glass on the table that I was working at. And accidentally, it fell, and it broke. But it didn't shatter into millions of pieces. It stayed together, only because it was laminated glass. Now, at the time, I didn't even know what laminated glass was. Now, it is the type of glass that's got a plastic interlayer. It is the type of glass that's used in our windscreens. Now, it didn't break exactly like this, but I can show you how it broke, because I took lots of pictures of it. It broke like this. I was mesmerized by the results. I took it to the photographic studio, and I throw some blue light behind it, and then I throw some green light behind it. This piece of glass was the beginning of my career. Towards the end of my course, I was asked by the external examiners to describe myself. And I was thinking, gosh, it's like, what do you want me to say? I said to them, all I could come up with was, I am me, I am Yorgos. I didn't think it was relevant to elaborate on that. Now, later on in my career, when I was showing some of my work to a gallery in New York, I was asked, what is it? What does it mean? And I look at the gallery owner and I say to him, well, what do you mean? It's a piece of glass, it's a broken piece of glass, and I made it beautiful. Isn't that enough? Now, instead of thinking outside of the boxes, why don't we get rid of these boxes? Why is it that people want to place us in boxes? Andy Warhol says, don't think about making art, just get it done, and let everyone else decide if it's good or bad, whether they love it or hate it. Now, whilst they are deciding, make even more art. I agree with Andy Warhol. But as I was looking back at my career, I was searching for a bit of a meaning. And for me, what was essentially my art was beauty. Beauty seemed to be the central ingredient. Now, talking about beauty, when Oscar Wilde was asked why America is such a violent country, he blamed it on the hideous wallpaper they have. Don't you just love Oscar Wilde? I mean, his paradoxes and his poetry might not be easy to understand, but what I do share with him is his passion and his love for beauty. And talking of beauty, I have chosen 3 examples to show you to discuss beauty in art. On the top left, we have Tracy Emin's bed. It's an unmade bed. It's full of dirty underwear. It's got condom packets on the floor. It's got a bottle of vodka there, cigarette ends, disgusting, filth. Where is the beauty in that? Is it art? What does it mean? Secondly, I've chosen an installation, a video installation by Martin Creed. Martin Creed won the Turner Prize in 2001. This video installation lasts for about 5 minutes, and its title is Woman Squatting to Have a Poo. Now, this woman comes on the screen, she squats, she has her poo, and then she leaves. Where is the beauty in that, I ask myself? Is it art? What does it mean? And then, thirdly, I've chosen a painting by Monet. It's one from his Water Lilies series. I am not an academic, and I am not in a position to discuss beauty in art. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw out a couple of questions for you to think about. Does something have to be ugly to be considered as art? Why is the concept of beauty in art so difficult, so complex to understand? Is beauty in art objective or subjective? I'm going to let you think about that. We can discuss it over lunch. So here is this piece of glass that started my career. Well, not this particular one, but the one that broke by mistake, by accident. Now, is it beautiful? Is it art? Now, this piece of glass would have been something that's rubbish for anyone else. Oops, a mistake, broken a piece of glass, just put it in the bin. But I have seen beauty in this accident. And I've managed to turn it around, and I've managed to create my career around this accident. Now, based on that, I started breaking glass in different ways. I was shooting glass, I was throwing bricks onto glass, and I was creating beautiful things. Beauty was not the only thing that I've seen in my life, though. I was only 4 years old when the Turkish army invaded. My family had to flee from Famagusta. The one thing that I remember was my mum covering my ears with a pillow so that I don't hear the bombings. Early on this year, I was in Paris, and I went to the Foundation Louis Vuitton. They've got an installation there, a video installation called Crossfires. And it was made out of, it's a video collage of different clips from different films of firearms, of shootings. Now, to my friends, this was like a symphony of percussion. To me, it was pure violence. I couldn't stay in that room for more than 3 seconds. Now, later on, when I was a teenager, I had to flee again. I was an artist, I was a gay artist, and in the narrow-minded mentality of Cyprus at the time, it was difficult. Now, I believe things have changed now. I bloody hope so. But back then, I abandoned my religion, and I left the society behind that did not accept me the way I was born. So I leave. I go to the big metropolis. I go to London. I was looking for liberation. I was a free spirit. And yet, in spite of all that, I abandoned my religion, and look at what's happening to my work. These images that I grew up with, the Panagia, the Virgin Mary, so deeply ingrained inside me, it's coming out in my work. This body of work is called the New Icons, and some of you might be familiar with it. It was exhibited here in Nicosia at the Famagusta Gate in 2008. Now, what I'm trying to do here is to combine the traditional Orthodox iconography with the Western demand for novelty, new materials, new paints, fluorescent paints. A lot of people that come to my exhibitions come from a religious background for some reason. They think I'm an iconographer. And they ask me, a common question I get is, isn't it a sacrilegious act, what you're doing? And I say to them, no, because I am not painting the Virgin Mary and then taking the hammer to her. No. What I do is I start off with my hammers. I use the hammers as my brushes, so the breaking comes first and then the painting. Talking about culture and heritage, this was another body of work that I've called Stratified Jewels. I was invited to show in Istanbul about, it was 2011, and I came up with this body of work which was influenced by the Madobedra, the evil eye. Again, something from my cultural background. And it's then that I realized what my art was doing, that my art was about building bridges across the cultural divides of my past. Now, when we're busy enjoying other people's creations, we have no time to fight. Violence, intolerance, accidents, they're all part of life. We can ignore them, but can we really? Now, you might think I'm standing here in front of an audience pretending to be an expert on how to turn violence into beauty, how to turn the bad into good, the negative into positive. Well, I'm not. Cancer. Cancer is not a good thing, right? How many of us in this lecture theatre do not know of someone who is suffering from cancer or has lost someone because of cancer? Sadly, I'm one of them. Recently, my sister died of cancer. She was diagnosed with breast cancer 4 years ago. 2 years later, it metastasized. She died just 2.5 months ago at the age of 51. Now, the images that we see on the screen, the one on the left, is of my sister's blood cells. And I took that image during a visit to a clinic in Switzerland where she was having alternative treatment. The image on the right is a piece that I did straight after that visit, the minute I got back to the studio. Now, I'm not saying that I'm going to be looking at blood cells or cancerous cells and turning them into glass artworks. I'm still struggling with this one. But I believe that just like this accident happened so many years ago and I managed to turn it around and turn it into something positive, into my career, I believe that I can do the same with this. I believe that I can turn my sister's death into something positive. Now, this belief, this way of thinking, this attitude to life, in the Japanese language, there is one word for it. Wabi-sabi. Wabi-sabi means a way of living that focuses on finding beauty within the imperfections of life and peacefully accepting the natural cycle of growth and decay. Oh, that's not all on there. Now, isn't that beautiful? I'm going to repeat it because it's quite a full sentence and it's very juicy. A way of living that focuses on finding beauty within the imperfections of life and peacefully accepting the natural cycle of growth and decay. Now, the cycle of life. When I was registering my sister's death at the local town hall, most people were there to register births. People are born, people get married, people get divorced, people die. It is the cycle of life. Now, are we going to sit back and feel sorry for ourselves? Are we going to blame others for our misfortunes? No. Instead, why don't we use the energy that comes from this acceptance to create beautiful things? And by doing so, by creating beautiful things, it will remind us that. Just like the lotus flower, it will remind us that it is possible to overcome our sufferings. Thank you.